Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Commander Talk with Rob Johnson, episode 2. Another episode, another time for you guys to be here with me, Rob Johnson, here on Commander Talk with Rob Johnson. I am glad to be here with you guys. I am happy that you are joining me here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and on Rob Johnson Media. Make sure you follow the Legacy Maker Sports Network as we talk Commanders Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to the last game where they played as I adjust my hat. As we go back and talk about the game against the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Cleveland Browns game, for me, a lot of people gave praise to Commanders. And I understand it. I get it. But what I saw was a Commanders team that didn't start getting going until the reserves came in. Which, listen, reserves are reserves. Football players are going to be football players. So the good thing is you are glad to see that your starting lineup was able to go in, get a touchdown. You had a touchdown from Howe to Dotson. They did a good job there. Of getting the ball down the field, scoring a touchdown. Very proud of what they did there. We're going to go back through some of the stats of the football game. Some of the players I told you to look out for: Rodriguez, Patterson, Robinson. He only had 3 carries. Robinson only had 3 carries, 16 yards. Rodriguez had 5 carries for 39 yards. Chris Rodriguez is a player that I think everybody should watch. He could be a player that could get into the rotation for the Washington Commanders. Their defense showed up. Deshaun Watson drove his team right down the field, right down to the 1-yard line. And for some reason, the Cleveland Browns did not want to throw the ball from the 1-yard line, so they ran the ball. But the Commanders and Sweat did a great job of making sure that they stopped that Cleveland Browns offense, very dynamic offense. Browns were missing some parts on that offense. Nick Chubb wasn't there. If Nick Chubb was there, it would have been a different story. But, preseason, guys, is preseason. So the thing is that when you're looking at the Commanders, you're looking at everything you saw from the last game against the Cleveland Browns, 17-15 win. The results really don't matter that much. But you are happy with what you saw. You are happy with the fact that the Washington Commanders came in. They took care of business. Now, let me also say this. Let me put this man's face up. How you like that? Eric Bieniemy. That's Eric Bieniemy, ladies and gentlemen. For those who don't know, former offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, 5 times in the AFC Championship game, 2 times Super Bowl winning coach and on the offensive end. Ladies and gentlemen, that man proved that he can coach. That man proved that with this offense, he could be very dynamic. When you have the receivers they have, when you have the running backs that they have, when you have everything that the Washington Commanders have, you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to be a good football team. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I have continuously said over the last few months is this. Do I think Washington is going to be a bad team? No, I don't. Do I think the Sam Howell hype is a little bit overblown? Yes, I do. I expect him to be a decent quarterback. I don't expect Sam Howell to be horrible this year. I expect him to be a decent quarterback going into the season. I think that he will do just enough to be that third team. Again, the third team out of the NFC East to go to the playoffs. I think the Washington Commanders can get to the playoffs because they have a top 10 defense. You have parts coming back. You have a defensive end, young man, and Chase Young, who is trying to get that contract. His 5th-year option was not picked up. Again, his 5th-year option, which to me is disrespectful because when Chase Young has been on the football field, this Washington Commanders team has been better. When he gets on the field, he sets a tone for this Washington Commanders football team. This is a very good football team. They are deep at wide receiver. Logan Thomas, who was hurt last year, he is coming back off of injury. You got Bates, who, if he figures it out, could be a very good blocking, possibly catching tight end. And ladies and gentlemen, if you ask me, the way I look at things, when I look at this Commanders team, they have the possibility of being a very good team. They have the opportunity to go into the season and do some great things, in my opinion. Now, going to tonight, they're playing in the Beltway rivalry against the Baltimore Ravens, a franchise that is right next to them, a franchise that has galvanized the community for a long time, a franchise that has 2 world championships since the year 2000 when they beat the Giants, and then when they went on, they beat the San Francisco 49ers. This team has the opportunity to win I got noises in the background. I think it's one of the people downstairs because they got a little party going on out there. But hey, it's party time. It's party time. You know why it's party time? Because it's Monday Night Football. It's Monday Night Football. We've got the Commanders. We've got the Ravens. It's party time. It's time to watch some football coming up here on ESPN at 8 o'clock. My stance is this, folks. I sincerely think that tonight is huge for Sam Howell and crew. Now, Lamar Jackson will not be playing this game tonight. I know a lot of people were hoping he'd be playing, but no, Lamar Jackson will not be playing. I think that is smart by the Ravens. The Ravens don't want to give away too much. The Baltimore Ravens don't want to. They don't need to give away too much of what this new Todd Monken offense is going to be. Tyler Huntley is injured with a hamstring, so it looks like Josh Johnson will be your starting quarterback tonight for the Baltimore Ravens. I may be wrong, but I'm thinking maybe Josh Johnson. Let me say this. The reason this game is so huge is because the Ravens, even though they're playing a lot of reserves tonight, they have a lot of experience. It's going to be big because that Ravens defense is not what it used to be. That Ravens defense is not the Ray Lewis defense, the Terrell Suggs, the Ed Reed defenses. I think they made a mistake by letting Peters go. I would have brought Peters back into the fold. That's just me. That's how I look at things. But when you're the Commanders, you're coming to this game. The Ravens have like a, 23, 24 game winning streak in the preseason. I know that may not mean a lot to a lot of people, but I do believe in something called momentum. I do believe in the fact that the Commanders have the Ravens this week. They have the Bengals next week. And even though the Bengals don't have a Joe Burrow starting, then they probably won't have a T. Higgins or the other big parts of their offense starting, any of their big-time wide receivers. It doesn't matter because guess what? You were playing against teams. You played against Cleveland, who I said will be in the playoffs. You're playing against the Ravens, who I said will be in the playoffs. You're playing against the Bengals, who will be in the playoffs, in my opinion. You're playing against teams who are deep and who have deep talent. And when you are a football team, when you're a football team and you're going to go into the playoffs, you have to have a deep roster. Injuries happen. Suspensions happen. Things happen here and there. So, in my opinion, and you're Washington, you're playing these three deep rosters. You have to go into these games and take them as seriously as possible. If you're Sam Howell, you come out your first drive, you know what you do? You try to get a touchdown pass. You come out, this is your first time since you came out through for 169 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception against the Dallas Cowboys in the season finale of the 2022-23 NFL season. You come out and you show the world just what you can do on Monday Night Football. You come out on Monday Night Football, you show the doubters. And I'm not a Sam Howell doubter. I don't doubt that he has the talent. I just look at the fact that he was a 5th round pick. And I understand the fact that he was picked in the 5th round for a certain reason. Now, a lot of people may call that being hater, saying you're such a hater. Well, in this journalism world, it's about about analyzing things to the best of my ability. I have no hatred against Sam Howell. I hope Sam Howell the best. Hope he gets a big contract. I hope he's able to feed his family, etc., etc. And I just noticed they spelled my name wrong on there, but that's okay. We'll get that fixed. It's Robb Johnson, not Johnason. That's horrible. I spelled my name completely wrong. That's horrible. Anyway, it's Robb Johnson. Y'all know what my name is, etc., etc. You know what my name is, so don't get it confused by anything else. That's my name is Robb Johnson. Anyway, just like his name is Sam Howell. Sam Howell is a guy who went to North Carolina, put up monster stats, didn't put up the greatest in his last season, but he has the ability, especially, ladies and gentlemen, because of the fact that he has this football team that has so many weapons. They have weapons from the wide receivers, again, to the running backs. The offensive line has to get themselves together just a little bit, but I think that they can come together as well. They have so many opportunities to do some good things. Now, you look at their season. We're going to go into the season a little bit and talk about who they're playing. You talk about they play the Cardinals week 1. Then at the Broncos. Then they play versus the Bills. Then they're at the Eagles, against the Bears, against the Falcons, Giants, Eagles. And that's even before they get to November, before they go to the Patriots. At Seattle, the Giants, Dallas on Thanksgiving, the Dolphins, the Rams, at the Jets, the 49ers, then against Dallas week 18. This team has an opportunity. This team was the team who beat the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles last year. This team I feel that the fans are going to be excited for. They're excited because of the new orange. Now, the thing that a lot of Commanders fans have to realize is going into this is, look, if there's not the amount of success that you want, you cannot look at this as a failure because this team is just getting together. I'm not saying that Sam is not going to be there next year, but I seriously think that the team is looking for some other options possibly. This is a big year for Sam Howell. I look at Sam Howell. I look at guys like Malik Willis from that draft. I look at those guys as backups, sometimes starters. I think Sam Howell can be a sometime starter. I don't look at him as a great option. I don't look at Sam Howell as a guy that's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't look at Sam Howell as a guy that's going to lead you for the next 10 to 15 years. But guess what, folks? That's okay. Because guess what? Doug Williams didn't do that either. But Doug Williams came in and won a Super Bowl for the Washington Commanders. Sam Howell can be that bridge. I will give Sam Howell this. I think he has Nick Foles type talent. Even though Nick Foles is one hell of a talent coming out of college. Nick Foles is one great talent coming out of college over there in the Pac-12 at University of Arizona. I will give him that. I think that he has the ability. He has the ability to do some really, really good things. However, let me also say that, again, games like tonight, they are huge for the Commanders. They are huge for Sam Howell and for Sam Howell's ability to be confident. Because if Sam Howell, ladies and gentlemen, is not confident, it doesn't even matter what happens going into the season. It doesn't matter if they're playing the Cardinals. It doesn't matter if the Washington Commanders have all the talent. It doesn't matter, folks, because quite simply and point blank period, when I say this, the Washington Commanders have got to make sure that they are giving the utmost confidence to Sam Howell. It's all about confidence. And that's the one thing I can say about Eric Bieniemy. People can talk about his intensity. People can talk about, he's too imposing, physically imposing with his, and mentally he can get on people's nerves with, his all his talking and, the way he says things, his mannerisms. If you are let me tell you this. Patrick Mahomes is a mentally tough quarterback. Mentally tough. Patrick Mahomes took what Eric Bieniemy gave him, and he took it in stride. If Sam Howell wants to truly be great, if Sam Howell truly wants to be the next big thing in this National Football League, he wants to earn a huge contract. If he wants to show his doubters, because again, I'm not a Sam Howell doubter. I just don't think that he's going to be that top tier great quarterback. But I'm also not saying that he's going to be horrible. So what I'm saying, folks, is that he must take this coaching. As soon as those reports came out about people complaining about Eric Bieniemy's coach style, he should have gathered the offense together and told everybody to shut their mouths. Because that's what leaders do, ladies and gentlemen. A leader is, now I will say this, if it was Sam Howell who went to the media, that's a problem. That's a serious problem. And that shows me Sam Howell's character. But I doubt very seriously if he was the type of guy or quarterback who played under Mac Brown to do something like that at the University of North Carolina. He should have had a meeting with those players on the offensive side and say, guys, look, what are we doing? We haven't won it forever. We didn't make the playoffs last year. We had an opportunity to make the playoffs. We folded at home against Cleveland. We need to get our stuff together. We need to galvanize this locker room. This locker room needs to be galvanized. This locker room needs to be more of a cohesive unit. This locker room needs to be there for one another. And I'll say this, folks. I believe that Sam Howell can be a leader of men. I believe that Sam Howell can do a lot of good things for this franchise. However, the thing is, again, if Sam Howell is not going to, if he's not going to be that leader, then what is the point? He has to be that leader. He has to be that guy when times get rough, that they can look to him as that leader that they need to get things done. If they can't look to him to be that leader, then what are they really doing? That is what I'm saying. So, again, if you're going to be that leader, if you're going to take the reins, and see, the thing is, folks, they gave this guy a job. They gave this guy the job a long, long time ago. So he's known that he is the captain of this boat for a long time. He knows that. He knows that there are a lot of expectations on his shoulders right now. He understands that. And what I think is that when you look at Sam Howell, when you look at this Washington Commanders team, they have the talent. Again, they have the talent. They have the ability to go into the season and at least go 2-0. When you're playing the Arizona Cardinals, when you're playing the Denver Broncos, who struggled last year, your defense has an opportunity to be big time in those games. I'll also say that when it comes to this team overall, they have to make sure they start off strong. They have to make sure they start off strong. Division games are going to be crucial this year. Last year, they had a guy in Carson Wentz who I do not consider, and this is what we come back to, ladies and gentlemen, is this whole leadership thing. You have a guy last year in Carson Wentz who I did not look at as a leader. And I didn't look at Carson Wentz as a guy who could be a leader for this brand right here, the Washington Commander brand. You go from the Washington Redskins to the Washington football team. Now, this is the brand for now until they possibly change the name again. But you are representing this brand, this W, this burgundy and gold. You represent this. So what are you going to do as a football team? And for me, like I said, for most teams, postseason, not postseason, I'm sorry. Preseason means nothing. For this franchise, with everything they've gone through, with everything that has gone on, it is critically important that they take everything seriously, that they get every win they can. So even if it's a 17-15 win against Cleveland, you got to win that game. Even if it's an ugly win tonight against a Baltimore Ravens team who hasn't lost in the preseason since 2015, you have to get some momentum from that because they are not good enough. This team is not good or great enough to just say, oh, we're going to lollygag, through this game. No, every game is critical for this team, just like it is for every other team. But we've seen that when this team has its doldrums, it gets really bad. And it's not a good thing. So what I'm looking for tonight, I'm looking for first-team offense for Washington to come out, be strong. I'm looking for them to run the football. I'm looking for Sam Howell to throw some nice, short, intermediate passes. But I want to see some other things. I want to see some slant routes. I want to see some post routes. I want to see them get Terry McLaurin on the 9 route. Mind you, the Ravens defense, as I said before, has changed. So if you can get Terry McLaurin on one of those younger corners, run a 9 route, and if let's say that somehow the Ravens come over and they have safety help on McLaurin, they can't get it deep, check it down. Get it to your tight end. Get it to your running back. Show me that you can go through your progressions as an NFL quarterback. Show me that when there's pressure in the pocket, like this last week, I remember he took a seat. He had a safety he took a safety last week. So that was big, but he was able to rally. So when times get rough, when there's pressure on him, is he going to force the ball into coverage? Is he going to throw the ball out of bounds? Is he going to get out of the tackler's box? Is he going to direct his offensive line? Is he going to make the right checkdowns, the right processes that is going to make the team better? That's what you have to do if you're Sam Howell. You're such a young guy. You got to put everybody in the right position. From a defensive standpoint, first team, second team, third team, I need to see everybody perform. I need to see Emmanuel Forbes perform. I need to see the defensive line perform. I need to see everything that they can do from point A to point Z because in the NFL, injuries happen, especially the Commanders. Every year, since they have an injury that derails things, they have to get somebody to come in who's not directly the starter or the star and step up. And one thing I will say about Washington is they've done a good job. So tonight, when we talk about the battle of the Beltway, when we talk about these two proud franchises, who I believe have a combined 5 Super Bowl championships, 3 from Washington, 2 from Baltimore, you have to be able, and this game is important, folks. This game is critically important. Bragging rights. It's important because these teams got into it. I don't know if you all saw the footage. I'm not going to show it because I don't like to promote violence on this channel, on this Washington Commanders channel, or Robb Johnson Media, on my Robb Johnson Media show. Don't like to promote violence at all. So I won't be showing that footage. But there was a fight. There was a skirmish between the teams. The teams were going at it. The teams were trading blows, and it was a moment that the Washington Commanders could be proud of. And the reason I say they could be proud of it, ladies and gentlemen, is this reason, and this reason right here. A lot of people in the offseason have called you guys soft. They said that you guys don't have the testicular fortitude to be that team that people take seriously. Well, the Baltimore Ravens, whether they have Ray Lewis, they don't have Ray Lewis, whether they have Jonathan Ogden, whether they don't, whether they have Ed Reed, whether they don't, whether they have a Jamal Lewis, whether they don't. That franchise, that team has the blueprint of an Ozzie Smith. And when you talk about a team that has the blueprint of Mr. Smith, what you have to realize is that they are always going to be tough. Some franchises, ladies and gentlemen, are just going to be tough. It doesn't matter who's there. It doesn't matter what year it is, what era. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the decade is. And I'm sorry, Ozzie Newsome. They have the pedigree of Ozzie Newsome. I'm sorry about that. I was getting some stats here. I'm sorry. They have the pedigree of Ozzie Newsome. I said Ozzie Smith. I apologize. Ozzie Newsome. They have the pedigree of Ozzie Newsome, who, ladies and gentlemen, was a tight end, Hall of Famer, came in, was one of the better GMs we've ever seen in the National Football League. It could be debatable if he is the greatest, but the work that he's done in Baltimore since they came into existence in 1996 is so impressive. He stepped down from his main role, but he still has a role in the organization. The patriarch of getting a Lamar Jackson, of getting a Ray Lewis, just to say a few names of some of the great names in Baltimore Ravens history. We could go on and on with some of the additions of Tony Siragusa from Indianapolis. This team has tough written all over them. So if you're going to get into a fight with the Baltimore Ravens, you better be tough. You better know the DNA of what it's all about. And Washington stepped up. Emmanuel Forbes, he stepped up. This team stepped up and said, you know what? We are here to battle. We are here because we feel like we belong in the top echelon of football teams. We belong in the conversation of being a team who could possibly make the playoffs this year, maybe win a championship down the line. They feel that they are in that conversation. So it's important. Tonight's game is important because you take the practices they had, take the fight they had, and you go on and you get into tonight's game. You show them what you're all about. Not only, again, from the first strings, second and third strings, because you never know where you're going to play. Football is a violent game, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not be, act like it's not. Let's not act like it's not a car accident every time waiting to happen, because it is. If you are any player, you have to be prepared to step up and play. That's just the bottom line. So that's that. But I'll close in saying this. The Commanders have to come out tonight, have to play strong. Even though they play the Bengals on the 26th, which is 5 days from now on Saturday. We'll do a quick preview on Friday. Come out, play hard, show your fans what you're all about. Show your fans that you are going to be here to stay. Show them what your talent level is, because you have great talent level. Come out, play against Arizona. The pressure's on you. And, they could. I have a list coming out maybe next week about the top 5 teams who are under the most pressure going into week 1 for that week only. Washington could be on that list because, again, you're playing Arizona and you have a chance to showcase your talent and showcase what you can do on the football field. So every week, come out, show your talent, show the people that you are great and you have the ability to to come out and do things that a lot of people think that you can't do. So that's it, man. So like I said, I hope everybody enjoyed tonight's show. Good luck to the Washington Commanders tonight as they play the Baltimore Ravens at home. I will see you guys the next time as we talk Washington Commanders football on Friday as I preview their game against the Bengals and we recap tonight's game against the Baltimore Ravens. You guys have a great night.